Hi everyone, it's Sandra and I'm out here with Cinderella. We can see some of the straw remnants because I gave her some straw last time. It's been 8 days since I refused to feed this worm bin because she hadn't finished off the previous feeding. She's been sitting in my very toasty greenhouse all this time. Let's see how the moisture is doing. I'll put a chart up of what the greenhouse temperatures did today. Right now it's sitting at 45 degrees Celsius, which is about 113 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe the high today was over 48 degrees Celsius or 118 degrees Fahrenheit in the greenhouse. So moisture is going to be a concern for me in this bin. And look at the dryness on the top. So remember I buried Prince Charming last time, so I can see the toilet roll there. But I think Prince Charming, the little feeding zone indicator, is buried over here. Poor thing. I won't forget him this time. Okay, so let's turn up the toilet paper. Oh, and we've still got the springtails. Let's turn up the toilet paper and see what's going on there. It's a beautiful one of Cinderella's cocoons. Again, sitting on the surface, which the cocoon will be fine, but it's not going to mature unless it gets moisture. So I'm pulling off this. Obviously the springtails found something to eat there. I don't know if that's the same cocoon. All right, let me get up this toilet paper and see what happened to that zucchini and the remnants of the leeks. This is quite warm. I'm thrilled to see the worms are still fine. You know, it's very, this toilet paper could easily collapse under its own weight. So I'm trying to keep it in a toilet paper shape, but I'm glad to see, you know, I'll turn them up so you can see them. The worms are still fine, even in these temperatures in this bin. Okay, so under here was the straw that I buried, as well as some of my pre-composted bedding and those flower stems. So let's see what the worms did with that. The straw, there's a worm in it, but and there's another worms in the straw, but ouch, it's prickly. Doesn't seem to be as damp as the worms might like it. Yeah, you know, I think the straw needs a little bit more help. It's just a dry onion peel to get the worms underway. So I think burying the straw where I'm getting this good moisture underneath might be the ticket. Obviously the worms can dive down to get the moisture, which will also keep it cooler down there. Those flower stems, where did they go? That flower bouquet, I can see some stalks from the flowers, but like I actually hypothesized last time that because those were very thin flower petals, I actually thought that they might be a fast food for the worms, and I'm not seeing the petals. I see the worms in this area. There's a little bit of the haircut left, but I'm not seeing those flower stems that I buried here. All right, so Cinderella, there you go, a little bit of tough love, and you finished up everything except your onion peel by the looks of it. No sign of that zucchini that was there after 8 days. And the worms were down cruising for food, leaving me lots of cocoons, saying, if we leave you cocoons, will you come back and feed us? Okay, so I've taken out this moist end here. I'm gonna try to grab the dry stuff. So kind of like a tumble dryer, you gotta spread the moisture out. And by putting the dry stuff down the bottom, I've got a better chance that the worms will get to it. And like I said, if there are any cocoons left in there, there's a better chance that the cocoons will mature. So there was a lot of dry stuff on this top. So I will put the moist old feeding, the flower stems and whatnot, on top of that. And then the straw I'm going to bury at the other end. I need to spread this moisture around as best I can. So I'm just going to take the moist stuff off and put it on top of this. And then Cinderella's feeding, I'm going to swing it to the other end, and just to make sure that any moisture in the feeding gets also spread around. When I see cocoons like this on the surface, I'm just going to do a finger prick. There's another one, and put them down, because that is not good. It's just going to delay their maturation. All right, so the dry straw is going to go here on the next feeding zone, which let's do the middle. So the toilet roll will go in the feeding zone as well as the dry straw. So we haven't looked in the middle. Obviously the springtails are into something. Oh look, they've even, look at, that's a road trip. Oh, that's a popsicle stick. That's my road trip fork. Almost all gone. You know, those disposable wooden cutlery that you get when you're on a road trip. That's what Cinderella was eating. All right, so I'm going down in the middle. Good moisture, lots of worms down the bottom. Let's go see what they are after. Okay, just trying to dig it up. I'll put it on the side here. Yeah, lots of worms down here. What are they finding other than moisture and away from the heat? I think that might have been a lot of their driver, just to stay away from where it was toasty today, very toasty. So I'm grabbing these bigger bits, I'm going to try to bury them to make a more uniform moisture in this bin, and obviously those bigger chunk material also need moisture in order for them to disappear. All right. Sorry, I just moved the bin there. Hopefully the camera's still okay. I'll try to move it back. I think that's where it was. Yeah, I'm not even getting down the bottom of the bin here, which, Cinderella, I think your bedding is getting too deep, because even stacking it up on the sides, I'm not able to do it fully. Okay, well that's as good as it's going to get then. Toilet paper goes in. There, let's scoop out the center. Yeah, there's really nothing left in there. So I'll just clean out the center, and we'll put some of the feeding in it. And I'll put this dry straw both sides of the toilet paper and that onion if there's room. And then we're going to spread the food all over this. Okay, so the food isn't a huge meal. It's more onion, carrot peels. It's been sitting in my greenhouse for probably 5 days. So it's nice and ripe and ready for the worms. So obviously I'm not going to leave them 8 days. Look at these big cocoons just sitting here. So poke, poke. So this is pretty ripe stuff. And that's just a dryish tea bag or something that was in there. Okay, so that's pretty ripe. So I'm just going to bring this down, worms and all. Maybe, why not? Let's just take a look in this end. I dug it up 8 days ago. Oh, it's it is more dry than I would like it to be. So just stir it up a little bit with some of this more moist stuff, and that'll distribute some of the moisture. And then I'm going to give Cinderella one more thing to munch on. I'm not going to leave her 8 days, because that was not a big feeding, and like I said, I skipped the previous feeding. So I'm going to give her some of my ground popcorn. We're cleaning out our pantry. This is just stale popcorn. So give her all of it. Just shake it gently into the surface so that it gets some moisture. Gosh, it's going to be hard to see the cocoons now with these larger popcorn kernels. Oh, sorry, worm, did you get popcorn all over you? Yeah, that I'm sure is a cocoon. Poke. Yeah, that's going to be hard. Anyway, so those are not cocoons. That is a popcorn kernel. That worm is discovering what it's like to be coated with pulverized popcorn. So now we're not going to forget Prince Charming, but I am going to forget something that I wanted to do. And I guess it'll be on the top. I was going to put it with the food. We are also, in addition to trying to use up our pantry items, because we can't really move the beautiful leaf mold that's underway in our garden. This is from a pile that we are processing into leaf mold. And so it's lovely and moist. And let's see, I know I've buried the worm chow, which isn't ideal, but you know, I'm just going to trust that Cinderella and her worms will take care of it and that they'll be okay. Oops, Prince Charming, you're sticking up too high. Thanks so much for coming along to check on Cinderella. Bye for now.